Ephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore.
It hasn't even started, and here's already the biggest chaos you can imagine. Oh, wow. I can finally say it again. I can hardly believe it, but welcome to day 1 of Dephemerember 2024. I'm really excited to do the first prompt of our prompt list today together with you. The first prompt today on December 2nd is Altered Playing Card and Antique Keys. If you have never heard about Dephemerember, then please check out the link in the description box below this video. There you will find an info post with all of the information you need to know to participate, and of course with all of the downloads, freebies and so on. There is also a link to our playlists where you can watch all of the Dephemerember videos. And when I say our playlists and our everything, I mean Barbara at 49 Dragonflies and myself, because we are the hosts of Dephemerember, and Dephemerember is your ephemera inspiration in December. This strange word, it is a coined term built from December and ephemera. You know, we make ephemera in December. That's why this whole thing is called Dephemerember. And today I have the feeling, since we are talking about altered playing cards, we need to make some mini clipboards. I mean, isn't this a little bit obvious? These look like mini clipboards a little bit already, don't they? So let's see what we can come up with for my Dephemerember journal, which Barbara made for me. So I will make something which will go into this journal. But if you don't have a journal, you can of course also participate, and you can make your ephemera like loose and then store that wherever you store your ephemera, and then put that later on into a journal. You don't necessarily need a journal, but Barbara and I work with a journal, we work with this prompt list, and you know, if you want to do that as well, then please feel free to do that, but it's not necessary to participate. So what are we going to do? First, we put the prompt list away. I'm so excited. I'm really excited. So what can we use? Of course, we need somehow some playing cards for this prompt. Don't freak your freak if you don't have a playing card. You could take, for example, a piece of cardboard, yeah, so that you have just the shape of a playing card. Or if you want also the look of a playing card and you don't have one, then please check out the video I have linked down below for you. I have a relatively old video that was also a Dephemerember video. In that video, linked below this video, there I show you how to make a playing card from scratch. So in that video I made my own playing cards. That could also be a possibility. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make some bases out of these things from my playing cards, and then I want to attach something that turns them into a mini clipboard, and we need antique keys of course as well. So let's first talk about the options for the things we can put on here so that this whole thing looks like a mini clipboard. This is really abstract at the moment. Please believe me, it will turn out really amazing. I know that already because I already recorded my German video and my other mini clipboards are already laying there, and I'm totally in love. So I can't wait to share this idea with you. So this would be an option. Then you would have, if you have this like clamp here, then you would have the look of such a mini clipboard. I say such because when I think about a mini clipboard, I always have this thing in mind. You know, English is not my mother language, and when I hear mini clipboard, this is what comes to my mind, this ideology mini clipboard, because this item is how I learned the word mini clipboard in English. So we need, of course, for a clipboard, something to clip, no matter if it looks like this or like this, you know, we need something to clip it there. And I think these bulldog clamps are really, really good for that. There are some tiny versions available from Ideology, also perhaps from other brands. I only know them from Ideology, but these would be really perfect for such a mini playing card. And what I also want to show you, and that is also something I'm going to use today, even if I know that the most of you might not have something like this. To be honest, I don't even know the word for this. I don't know the word in German, and I don't know the word in English. But when I went through my clips here, I found a box. And in here, there are a ton of really strange clips I got from my mom. When she passed away, my father gifted this to me because he thought, and that's totally true, you can use these metal pieces for junk journals, closures, or other things, or perhaps something like this, what we want to do today. What am I trying to say here? Even if you don't have something like this, look around in your house, look around in your craft room, look into the corners, you know, into those corners which are really like far away. Perhaps you can find something like this, and perhaps you can then make something out of that, even if you haven't thought about that. That is possible in the beginning. When I had this in my hands, I found out that this size of playing card fits in here like perfectly. It slides in here like this was made for this. And look, it's a little bit different look if we compare it with this. Yes, it's different, but it reminds to a clipboard, doesn't it? And of course, you can also use things like this, even if here is nothing to clip anything. Here, of course, with the bulldog clip, I can take this and I can take a paper, for example, and we will also do that later, and I can really clip this here. But there's absolutely no problem if you, for example, don't have these clamps, to take something and use that in a totally different way, and, you know, just tuck the papers under here so that they are in there and that it just looks nice. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Use the things you have. I have also these little things here which look like hands, or these. Perhaps you have something like this from, I think these are from jeans or so. Perhaps you have something like this somewhere laying around. Please don't destroy your clothes for something like this, but yeah. Even something like this from a belt could work in some way. This is probably a little bit big, but, well, it depends on the size of the playing card. Even this, I thought if you perhaps want to make a hole and set an eyelet into this thing, then you could even hang that like so to such a thing, or you could use a bulb pin or whatever you have. You could even turn this into a, what is the English word? Keychain, I think is the word, to hang that to your bag or so. Just some ideas and some inspiration. So then we need some keys. And here's my first problem. The prompt list says antique keys. I don't have antique keys. The only thing I have is this. That seems to be a lot, but here is nothing really antique. I have one key which is pretty old, and the rust on this one is real rust, but I would not consider this as antique. But there's no problem with using old little keys, or use some charms or little things that look like keys which you can buy in a craft store or so. You could even take some made from wood or other materials. And if you don't have something like this, take your scissors, take some paper and just cut a key shape, or take a magazine or a book and cut your key out from there. Yeah, perhaps you find a picture or so which you can use. An antique key doesn't necessarily need to be made from metal. That's what I'm trying to say. The main goal of Dephemerember is to have fun together. And if there is something that you don't like, then please just exchange it. Yeah, before you go and do something else, please just exchange the materials and be happy with what you do and what you have, and then everything is totally fine. I wanted to make different sizes of my mini clipboards, and I found out that even half of this... Why is this so wonky now? Okay, I'm so sorry. I need to... Can I... My freak. My freak is really close to freaking out. What I wanted to say is, I found out that even half of a mini playing card is a great size. And I also want to take this one, because this one is the same like this, size-wise. And I thought, why don't we cut this also, so that it is a little longer and more narrow than the others. And then I want to take some tea bags. You could use just some normal tea bags. These are just from fruit tea, dried and then emptied. I mean, you know, I have taken the tea out and then I have flattened them a little bit. You could, of course, also for this step use some of these coffee filters, or some really thin, like tissue paper, for example, or a layer of a napkin. I found some tea bags which I had stained with some sprays years ago. By coincidence, I found them when I recorded the German video, and I was really happy because that is the perfect color. This is just a normal tea bag sprayed with some vintage photo, oxide spray and spray stain. Just a mixture of that. Now I'm taking some matte gel by Liquitex. You could also take some collage medium or some other glue. You know, for example, this decoupage glue would work, but I think you know your glue. Anything which can glue tea bags to playing cards would work for this idea. Now I'm going to take my heat tool, and guess what? I'm going to dry these. So when these are really dry, we can take a sandpaper and just go around here to remove what's too much here. If you don't have a sandpaper, or if you can't handle the dust, I mean, this is not a lot of dust, but I know there are some people who can't handle that, just please take your scissors and cut around this whole thing. Since we will have some drying time with that, let's put these aside for a second and let's take our little clamps. And let's also decide for some keys. I think I like this one. This is just a little charm. Shall we perhaps also take such a normal one? I mean, this is pretty thick, but I think if you would put the mini clipboard to a cover later, then that is no problem. This one is really thin. I also have this little silver one that could work well on these. I want to have different sizes so that I can make them proportionally matching the cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would already be enough, but I need options. So let's take perhaps 2 or so more. Perhaps, oh look, what is this? This looks really interesting. There are, I would say, 452 options to let a key look antique. I will show you my favorite option, but I will also give you some alternatives if you don't have what I will use in a second. You could take some acrylic paint and a dry brush and just go over that with the color of your choice. Just dab it on to make a little, perhaps a little gritty patina-ish texture. You could also, of course, use some texture paste mixed with sand, or texture paste mixed with coffee, glue mixed with sand or coffee, so that you get a little gritty stuff. Because to imitate what I'm doing here, there are, as I said, a lot of other possibilities. What I want to use is the grit paste Crypt by Ranger, but we need to do something first. We need to put some glue on the metal, otherwise the grit paste will fall off. Yes, you could use a spatula for this step, but that's not so much fun. I'm sorry. Oh, did I say that you can download the prompt list for yourself as well? I think I have missed to say that. You can download the prompt list, of course, for yourself as well. Please check out the description box of the video. You can print it. It's available in English and in German. So now I will dab this on here. I will do one side of the keys first and then the other side. Then in the meantime this can already dry a little bit. So while these are drying, we can think about some papers which we can then clip to our mini clipboards. I have taken out the scraps Barbara has sent to me in this wonderful envelope. And we decided that we have to use at least one scrap per day. This one, for example. Oh, this is perfect. This is the rest from the German video. I mean, I have already used a piece of this. I found this really, really nice on here. So I want to have one scrap from Barbara as a little paper on here. Two more. And I also want to add one little piece from my stash to have something neutral, which looks more like, yeah, how can I say that, a notepad paper or something like that. And for that, so that will then be the second paper on each clipboard, I have chosen these. This is just some coffee dyed paper from a, here it says nicht vergessen, that means don't forget. This is also, yeah, somehow from a how do you say that? To-do list block pad or something like that. I don't know how to say that in English. So this is then number 1, number 2 for each, and for the third paper I have something special in mind. I place this on here with a little distance to the edge. Then I take a ruler, place that here, look where approximately the other edge is, to tear it then so that it gets a little smaller than the playing card is. Also here on the bottom. Then it's like this. Then I take this, which will go on this. I take this and I tear this a little different, either a little smaller or a little bigger, but different, so that we get a nice variation. And later on we can layer them so that we can see the single papers. So I will do that for all of these. So when we have that, we can put all of these aside for a second and take some more playing cards in exactly the same size like these are. I found out a really cool trick. I want to use these as the third paper on my mini clipboard, but they are really thick and they add bulk to my journal, and they don't look grungy enough for my taste. So what I'm going to do is I take these and destroy them a little bit. Don't freak your freak if they tear, because that will be fixed in a second. With doing this, I also destroy this glossy coating of the cards in some areas, and that means that this middle layer of the material comes through. So everywhere where these little damages are, it's porous now, and that means distress ink can dry on those areas. And with that we can make a really cool effect. I'm going to take vintage photo oxide ink, and when I go over this now, in the first moment it looks like really crazily brown, because it is, but please wait a few seconds. So take a dry paper towel, go over this and just remove what is too much and what can't dry on here. That way you will remove the ink from the glossy and slippery areas, but it will stay in those damaged creases, I think is the word. Perhaps not, but you know what I mean. We will do this on all of these cards. Okay, so now they look nice, but they are still pretty thick and they are damaged here. So what to do? You could now do the next step with some regular transparent packaging tape or any other kind of tape. I will use something different because that gives me some more advantages. This is some clear sticker paper. If you don't have something like this, use tape. Don't freak your freak. How much do I need? Well, let's peel a little bit off and then let's see how much we will need. This is printable sticker paper, by the way, which gives a really cool advantage. I take the card and with the side I want to see later, I put it to the sticky side of my sticker paper. like this. Then we can cut this off. Let's then take a bone folder or something similar. And I think this effect is just amazing. Look. But we can go a step further because this is of course now glossy. And you can tell that I don't like that so much. So what are we going to do? As soon as sticker paper, printable sticker paper, gets in contact with water, it gets on the surface a little slimy. I have already videos online where I show you different techniques with that kind of sticker paper. I will also link exactly this sticker paper I'm using here down below in the description box, because unfortunately I can't tell you if this works with any kind of sticker paper, but you can test it. If you have printable sticker paper at home, just take a little bit of water, spritz it on there, go over that with your finger and feel if it is a little bit slimy. If yes, it works. Because then you can take water, make this wet, take a matte material like for example a tea bag, and you can stick this on just with the help of the water, because this slime, this surface gets, you know, the surface gets slimy. And if you then go over this, it sticks automatically to the sticker paper. Yes, I know not everyone has this kind of surface at home. That's why I said use regular tape. If you want to glue a tea bag to tape, use glue. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you can of course do this trick with regular tape as well. Then you just have to use another adhesive to adhere this. So now this is dry, but it's still too thick. So what we are going to do is we take our fingernail tool and try to get this layer off here, so that only the top layer of the playing card stays on the sticker paper. Somehow this doesn't want to come off. Will this hinder me to do this project? No, definitely not. We will just leave it on there. The rest worked really fine. If I was a little more patient, I am sure I could get this off as well, but I don't want to stress myself here, so I leave it on there. Perhaps it just is a sign or so. It wants to be on there. So now I'm going to cut this. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to get rid of the sticky part of this so that I can't accidentally destroy my other papers there with the stickiness of this. Then we have these. They look a little bit strange, I know. Now we take these pieces back. Let's start with the biggest one, because that is for me easier to show. So we want to assemble this now. This is the base, which is like the wooden piece of the mini clipboard. Then next I want to have this one here, then this, and last but not least this as a third paper, which is clamped in here. But this is obviously too big. So since I know that this is the width I want to have, I can take these, put that on here. I take my stapler, staple in here so that this can't fall apart anymore. I take this, then I hold it here where it will go later, yeah, so that I can see this edge here. And then I take my scissors and cut the top paper in to the right size. For me, this is the easiest way to do this. Of course, you could also take a paper trimmer or measure this somehow. But for me, this is just the easiest way to do it, because then I can immediately see if I like this whole thing or not, or if I want to cut off more. So let's do it here exactly in the same way. We take this, and then this is the piece which shall go on top. Here I want to see the 6, so I place this here so that I can make sure that the 6 will be shown, even if I cut a little bit off here in a second. Then let's take this where it shall be clamped on later. Make sure that you cut only through the top layer. I will do the same thing for the others. So then I take my crocodile and I make a hole here on the bottom into each of the cards. I will set some eyelets here to make this more durable. Let's then take some bulb pins slash some rings for the smaller ones. I found out that on these tiny ones, I mean these are the half of a mini playing card, the bulb pins are way too bulky. No, they are way too big. So let's first assemble this with the clip on here. That is so cool. Oh my goodness. I am so hoping that you like this idea. So now I think here this is not too small to add a bulb pin on the bottom here. I think that makes it not unproportional. Which key would fit here size-wise? I think this one is really good already. The first one I grabbed. Yeah, I really like that. And of course, you could also additionally hang more things here. Yeah, that looks really good. Here, for the smaller ones, I like to take a ring instead of a bulb pin. The bulb pin is on the one hand, or would be on the one hand, pretty thick and heavy for this small thing. And on the other hand, it's, for my taste, too long. Oh, I love this. That is so cute. But do you know what I'm just thinking? It's somehow my freak, obviously. This one here with this peace sign, it needs to be somewhere here in this project, because our junk journal community is a really safe space, I would say. And we want to spread peace with junk journaling as well. So I've just decided to add this here additionally. And I think that matches really well, since this is flat. Then I can put this over here and, you know, it's nice. We can decide if we want to leave the grid paste crypt as it is, or if we want to add some medium. And I think, since the tea bags here are a little bit white, it would make sense to add either a white crayon. This is not white, this is Lost Shadow. I also I already found out that this is too gray for my taste, but I don't have the picket fence crayon at the moment here. That would be white. But what also works is something I lost here on my table. This thing, watercolor pencil. In this case, I have picket fence. I spritz a little bit of water here to my table to get relatively much pigment mixed with the water. And then I can take this and I can just apply this here. This looks a lot, I know, but wait a few seconds, please. Just dab it on with your finger. And I find this really interesting because it makes it, on the one hand, a little more dimensional, and on the other hand, it looks dusty. And I need somehow a label behind this little thing there, otherwise I can't be happy with this. This looks so cool. I will not put them all in my journal. I will show you some options here, and then I will take one which then goes into the journal, and the rest of those will go into my stash, otherwise my journal will get too bulky. But I want to show you some options how you could bring them into your journal now. Or imagine this was a card. It doesn't have to be a journal. Yeah, you can also place these on a card, for example. I mean, what the heck? This is so cute. I also like it that we have not glued this here somehow, because now you can take it apart completely, and with that you can also, for example, clamp it to a pocket. Can you see? You could even here, it would even make sense to take a bigger one. I mean, this one I would need to glue that down somehow because it has no clamp function, but look at that. Ooh, especially with these patterns here, with this pattern here, with these shapes, and this, that is matchy. Oh. I thought especially the tiny ones would also look nice on such an edge. Oh. So that was the first prompt of Dephemerember 2024. How crazy is that? And if you want, we can meet here tomorrow again for the second prompt, which is layered tag and retro film strip. I have a little bit, some kind of a stomach feeling that this has to do with bulk. We will see. Have a very great and creative day. Bye bye.